We only have to be loyal to one thing in this illusion of a world. And it's not our country, and it's not our family, and it's nothing external. The only loyalty we have and obligation is to our own heart. The definition of heart, it's like it's an organ inside the body, and it's a metaphor of a center, and we will call it the heart because it is the closest word to this center of decision making and evaluation that exists inside the separate form. The soul, the thing itself, other than our thoughts, even other than our feelings. Not always the feelings and the heart speaks the same language or wants the same things. Our heart is the compass, is the place. It's not a place, it's the idea, it's the center of knowing. The heart knows. It always does. The heart speaks. It always speaks. It always tries to express itself. And sometimes it is buried under so much judgment and so much oppression. We oppress the heart. It becomes a silent whisper. A very, very delicate whisper that you almost cannot hear, but you hear it, whether you like it or not. The heart is independent. The heart is free. The heart knows. And we as characters, the separate forms, the images of the person, will not allow the heart to rule, will not let him have the place that belongs to him. We give this place to the brain, we give this place the most important place, which is the center of everything. We allow something else to run the show. We don't let the heart do it. Why? Because we don't trust the heart. Because we think that the heart is so impulsive, or we cannot depend on the decisions that the heart suggests we do. Maybe people had their heart broken, so they believe that the heart is very fragile and weak, and we should build defenses around it, and we should never show anyone this place, and we should not open it, and we should protect it because it's so fragile. It is unimaginable to think that we will come to every interaction with an open heart. Why would we, when we know how fragile is the heart? It absorbs the pain and the sorrow, and we feel everything inside it. And so we cannot trust it, or protect it, or use it in a logical kind of way. And so the problem is that when you give the power that belongs to the heart, to the brain, or to this psychological structure that we built over the years, building our character through our life experience and making all the decisions and conclusions, and we make the decisions from this place and not from this intuitive, beautiful mechanism that was designed to do that. The heart is designed to make the decisions. You can easily see that this is its job just by the pure instinctive knowledge we have whenever something comes up, the heart is the first thing that tells us how to react. It's like an instinct. Something happens, the heart wants to express something. Usually, the mechanism of the separate form oppresses this instinctive reaction and replaces it in a terrible process of wiping out this offer, this call for action. It wipes it out and it brings another thing that is more logical, more in tune with what is happening, more in tune with what society thinks and what the characters think would be the rational and logical thing to do. It's not that the heart will not trust you, okay? Because the heart will always continue. The heart, meaning this thing, as expressed through this beautiful metaphor of center, it will always try to say, to communicate with you and just to bring you the solution and the offer right away. But if during your life and in a lifetime, you spend your time ignoring these beautiful suggestions and beautiful reactions, and you oppress them, and you choose to do something else, so the heart will not insist so much. It will understand the mechanism and quiet down. It never quiets it down, because you know when you react not from the heart that something is wrong, because your reaction leads to more misunderstandings and more frustration, and you never feel complete. And then the heart suggests how to solve it, and then you oppress the heart, and then there's this endless vicious cycle of actions that are just being forced on the character because it doesn't trust the judgment of the heart. It may be the bravest thing to do, to follow your heart, because sometimes it doesn't make sense, and sometimes it's difficult or goes against something you were brought up to believe in, or something you built for so many years, so it's shame not to use it, not to use all this mechanism, and you just ignore it because it's so much easier to do the regular, familiar things, the things that will not get you in trouble. The only thing is that it is getting you into more and more trouble. It's like you follow the wrong instructor. You have two ways to climb the mountain. You have two instructors, and one of them is very pompous, very arrogant, believes he knows everything, very powerful, and speaks very nicely. And the other is like a flaky one. He doesn't look like a very serious person, so you don't trust him. But he is the one who knows the way. So you are letting the image of the instruction mislead you, and then you follow the wrong instructor, and of course he takes you to places that just delay your involvement, delay everything, and generally it's not so much fun. Following the advice of the heart is hard because it's so close to aliveness. It's like a live wire. You have to make sometimes difficult decisions. And there is much confusion. Is this coming from the heart, or is this an obsession or something unhealthy that is expressed and looks like it's coming from the heart? But if you are very, very, very honest with yourself, you will know when the instructions comes directly from the heart and when it comes from this obsession or from this sickness of the mind. And you cannot confuse those two things. The advice of the heart is so clear. It is so clear. In this illusion of reality, a problem rises, and instinctively the heart gives you the answer. It comes together. They are intertwined. They are connected. The problem and the solution offered by the heart. Right after this happens, that it rises together, comes this division, this identification with the character, and all the psychological structure just starts to party. It brings everything right to the moment and just addresses the problem with all the familiar tools. And this becomes a mechanism. So the heart does not insist, like I said, it does not continue to offer his solution, and he lets the character do whatever the character is doing. The heart never imposes. It's like a person that never imposes himself on others. He can suggest something and just let you have the freedom to decide. And this is another indicator if it is an obsession or an advice, the instinctive advice of the heart. Because it will never force you to take it. It will never insist on it in a way that is obsession. It can cry, but this cry will be of something so just like something that was lost and is calling you, that is yours, that you know, and you want to ignore it because it's easier to ignore this call. But you know instinctively that it is you. This call is genuine, is this thing. I just don't want to do this thing because it's too hard, because it's too crazy, because I've never acted this way before, because I have to overcome so many things and barriers just to make it happen. It is impossible. Sometimes it disguises itself as an impossible thing for the character. She cannot do that, she never did that. The heart is you. Acknowledging this beautiful wisdom of the heart is acknowledging yourself, your own wisdom, your own independence, your own ability to synchronize with this grand thing, because the heart is like a metaphor of this great thing. It is everything. It takes to consideration all the elements, and it produces a beautiful, thoughtful, compassionate, loving reaction. But you cannot take it. And just as the apparent world looks faulted, like it's not perfect, there are many flaws in this illusion, like death or ugliness or evil things. So it's not a beautiful choir of angels singing on the green grass while butterflies are flying, fluttering around, and the smell of cinnamon in the air. No, it is nasty and dirty, and everything is just so mixed up. This is the appearance of this illusion of the world, and the heart is the same. And so the heart is much like this outer illusion of reality. The heart also is complex. It's built of many things. This is our identity. We are faulted. We are not perfect. So the heart also, it represents us loyally. And sometimes it has to make decisions that will not appear to be very generous to others. But in order for the character and the world to heal or to evolve, it has to do these things. It doesn't mean that it itself is bad, that the character is bad, that this thing is bad. No, it just means that different actions needs to be taken in different situations, and not always the right thing to do is just the generous and the good things to do. We have a saying in Hebrew, if you have mercy for the evil ones, you are cruel to those who are innocent. And this is true. If you show mercy to the undeserving, again, there are no undeserving, there is no one to give mercy to. But in the story, if you give your mercy to a killer, to a rapist, like humanity does right now to the rapists and murderers of October 7th, they call them freedom fighters, and they fight for their rights, but they have mercy on the evil, so not only the innocents that were attacked by this evil are the victims, but the future of all society itself that allows violence to grow within it is in jeopardy. So, in conclusion, the heart wants to be very generous towards everyone and finds the justifications why to have this mercy on this evil, basically betrays itself and the general plan. And what we must take into consideration is the general plan. The world is oneness, it's unity. So everything that happens within this unity absolutely affects all its aspects. So if you do not do the right thing inside this oneness, you affect the entire oneness expression. And if we want to see an expression of an evolved world, an enlightened world, a world without violence, a world that aspires for the compassionate nature to express itself, and generosity, and pureness of the heart. If you don't aspire to this place and act in a way that fights for this place, you will create an illusion of a world, an expression of a world which is contaminated. And if this must be, then it must be, because these are the processes we see right now in oneness. But the heart is like this oneness. The heart is the one that needs to identify everything, and it does. There is not one way in which you are. Now we define what is it to have a pure heart, to have an enlightened heart or a generous heart. It's not always being generous. Sometimes being strict and firm in your heart is the solution. In a relationship with someone, if this someone is exploiting you in some way and is thinking of himself, and you can see that, then a generous heart that accepts it is not a loyal heart. If you accept being exploited and you justify it by, I'm having such a soft heart, open heart, I accept everything and everyone, you're not listening to your heart, because your heart is crying, oh no, I don't want anything to do with this individual. And I will punish him in a way I think suitable for him. And I will show others that he is dangerous for them and let them stay clear of him. This is the mechanism that the heart will show you to defend yourself and to show others dangers. And if you don't believe me, but this is the main goal of this thing, if you are firm, it's to educate this person that he is wrong and that there are consequences to what he's doing. So this is like become his teacher. If you listen to your heart and not play like a martyr or a saint. Having a saintly heart means knowing exactly how to react in every situation. The wisdom of the heart is so beautiful. It shows you that it is very diverse. There is no one way in which you should see all the things and react the same way to everything. Every phenomena is different and needs different care and attention and treatment. How you deal and act with every phenomena shows the wisdom of your heart. And because the phenomena are so different from one another, because people are so different, you cannot use the same attributes of the heart on any individual. You have to have a different relationship with every one of them. Of course, that the heart and this thing is full acceptance of what is. It's full compassion of what is. It is unaffected. This is why no matter how many times you will refuse to hear your heart, refuse to take this wisdom, or refuse to acknowledge that it exists and choose every single time your old programming, this is why the heart will never give up on offering you its present. The heart will never give up. This is the mechanism. It's whether you like it or not, the heart will never stop. And sometimes it will only cry louder. When you're getting lost, the heart will try to call you. And it may sound like a whisper, and it may be screaming inside your ear. He will try. This will try to communicate with you. Just like this thing which is us, which is reality, is always trying to communicate with you, is always trying to align with you, to express its freedom through you. She always nudges you with the synchronicities, with everything that is around you, is talking to you constantly. It never gives up. It never says, okay, this character, I offered so many times, she just doesn't want to learn, so I'll let this character just go with this mind's chatter and judgment. I give up. No, the heart never gives up. And another thing is that the heart is never affected. No matter what happens, and even if people say, oh, it broke my heart, the heart never breaks. The heart never changes. The heart is always complete. People say that their heart is broken sometimes when a loved one dies. And true, it is a sad thing, and you feel all these emotions of parting and sorrow and grief. But the heart has nothing to do with it. It's not the heart that is breaking. It's the concept of what you were with this person. It's all the reality, all the programming, all the psychology, all the memories, all the feelings, everything that created this illusion of a story. This is what is breaking. It is shattering. So it feels like your heart is breaking. The heart is something else. The heart is like something that it's connected to the now, to this moment, to this present live moment, and it is the decision maker of this moment. It has nothing to do with what has happened. and it doesn't store everything inside it and then just thinks about it. The heart doesn't think. The heart doesn't act in the future or in the past. The heart is this pure liveness. This is why it is ready for action. In every second it can give you the answer. The heart is not the center of emotions. It's not like the brain. Like the brain, they say it's the center of the thoughts. But the heart is not the center of emotions. It's a different thing. The heart it's a tool for us, a very simple tool. It knows how to work only in this moment. Only in this moment we have a heart. And now it speaks. We can feel the heart speaking to us only in the moment. You can feel the rise of what it's saying. And you can call it like intuition or gut feeling or something that is very instinctively pointing to somewhere. And it's so wise. It has a profound wisdom of the thing itself, because it's aligned with the thing itself, because it is a tool of the thing itself, the most evolved tool and approachable tool. It skips over the thoughts. It skips over all the mechanism. It's there, always on your disposal, always offering itself. But it never is affected by these events of reality, virtual reality, because it cannot. It is not part of the game. It is part of this oneness. It is oneness talking to you directly. When you look for wisdom, try the wisdom of your heart. It knows, and you don't trust it. People have so little trust in their own instincts and their own inner worlds and the way they react to it. They don't trust themselves. They were programmed to distrust this process. The heart very gently tries to make you act, and you choose to ignore it. Usually people do choose to ignore this inner call. And the wonderful things that come to the characters when they hear this calling and they just do it. They just follow a crazy idea that the heart just told them, this is, wow, I like this so much. I don't care that it's unorthodox, or I never done that, or it's not connected to my life or to my religion or to my country. I have to try this. It speaks to me. When they do that, when people do that, they discover their true nature, their true passion, and true relationships, because it's easy to fool ourselves in relationships. I'm 50 years old and I had many friends and family, and I've heard so many stories about people who betrayed themselves, betrayed the heart, and did things that it's easy, very easy to see how dear was the cost they had to pay because of this betrayal. It's terrible, because if you betray your heart, like in marriage, you marry someone though you know that they are not right for you, but you have other, like, you have to take things into consideration. There are things that suits you, are comfortable for you now. So you persuade yourself that, shut up, beautiful, silly heart. You're just a flaky thing. I don't have to take you seriously. There are serious matters here. This is life, real life, not La La Land, not children's games. I will not listen to you. I will do the logical thing and yes, marry this person, though you are telling me she's not for me. I am telling you, oh, there are many things in her favor and it will help me, and I'm sick of being alone and I don't know the reason, but I'll ignore your advice. And 10 years later, you see the mess, you see the enormous mess created by this betrayal of this advice, this simple, honest, humble advice of the heart. And I've seen that happen many times. Just to get a temporary relief, people sell themselves, sell their hearts. And the heart is not an organ, and the heart is not this emoji of something red. This is not the heart. The heart is like the connection, the pure connection to this thing, where if there's a border between the character and the thing that it is, like a thin line that it is drawn. The heart is a place where the line is very, very thin. It's almost there, like there is no line. It is the thing itself speaking to you directly, offering itself to you directly, as always, directly, instinctively. So if you want to listen to the wisdom of your heart, first you must look and try to see how oppressed is it? How much time did you invest in oppressing your heart, in oppressing what it has to offer, and just saying, oh, this is an irrational thought or feeling, or it nudges me, but I will ignore it because what the hell, it's not connected to anything. See how trained you are to oppress these suggestions. The other thing is to see if it's a genuine suggestion from the heart, or is it like an obsessive thought that just comes and swoops in every time the problem rises. Then there's this obsessive thinking, and it disguises itself like something that the heart wants. This is the most troubling thing in this obsessive thinking. It disguises itself like it's something from the heart. It's not. This is obsessive thinking. The advice of the heart is never obsessive. It is never obsessive. It can offer itself many times, but in the right place where it will suit you, it will rise. The heart will offer it again. The obsessive thinking is always, it's like glue. It just covers everything, and it insists it's true. The heart will never say, okay, this is what needs to be done. Obsessive thinking will just be like glue all over you all the time, and insist on it having to have its way. I have to do this like this. And the heart will suggest, and the heart will allow skepticism, and the heart is so soft. It's like there's movement. So this is how you identify obsessive thinking from advice from this wisdom of the heart. Know the wisdom of the heart, you know what needs to be done, and you just can't do it because the circumstances really doesn't allow you to do this step. But at least you know what is this thing for you. You are aware what is right for you and what is wrong, and you know that you are not doing right now the right thing, but you aspire to do that. You aspire to fulfill this advice when you can. The minute you will be able to do that, you will, because you know, because you trust. The advice of the heart is the advice of this thing. The wisdom of your heart is this intuitive, beautiful flow of instinctive answers, beautiful, crazy answers, beautiful, brave answers, deep answers, answers that are connected to you, so directly to your character, to your passions. It is you. It is always there for you, at your disposal, a heartbeat away.